Hello and thank you for joining us here at the First Alert Desk. I'm Maria Moreau. The countdown to Halloween is officially on. I know I'm getting excited for Monday. Some of us celebrating as soon as tomorrow, Friday. We want to make sure that you have a safe and spooky celebration. So we actually got together with Dr. Lucinda DeMarco. She's the Chief Medical Officer for United Healthcare of Georgia. She's going to share some tips that you might have not thought of, but are going to help you have a fantastic Halloween. Thank you so much for joining us here, Dr. DeMarco. It's great to have you back on here.
Thanks, Maria. I appreciate that.
So you're the expert here. I know you sent me this wonderful list and I was going through it, and a lot of those things I hadn't thought of in my past Halloween outings, and I want to make sure we talk about them today. I want to start with clothing. A lot of us make sure to get our costumes together. We get all the little pieces, we try them on the night before. Really, that's what makes Halloween for so many people, especially the younger kids. Let's talk a little bit about what to look out for when you're putting on your costume or planning to wear it out on Halloween.
Okay. So, the important thing is we want to make sure that our kids are seen when they're out and about with their costumes on. So if the costume can be light or lighter in color, that's always a good thing. A lot of times the costumes tend to be black or navy blue, those things. But the other things that you can do is to get some tape that is reflective and put that on, like the sleeves of the costume, the back of the costume, some of the front. And a lot of times those will blend right into the costume and not detract from the way it looks. I think the other thing that's important is to make sure that the people that your kids are going to interact with as they go on their excursion for Halloween. So, make sure that I don't want to go down the stranger danger route, but that's something we have to think about. Make sure with the costumes that you put your name and phone number and your child's name in the back of the costume in case they get separated from you. At least it's there. If they don't know that, they don't know the cell number, or they don't know where you live, or those kinds of things, because sometimes with the younger kids, they don't. And especially if they're afraid, they may not as well. Be careful if you put wigs on, if you put masks on. All of those things sometimes can obstruct their vision or their nose or mouth, so they can't breathe very well. And so you just want to really check before they head out the door, but also continue to check ongoingly as you're with them. And again, make sure you have a reliable person going with them as well, because you want to keep them safe.
And another thing maybe you can touch upon here, I wanted to bring up with you was contacts, particularly colored contacts. I know especially some teens might favor that look, but we've actually heard already out there that some of those places that you might buy your colored contacts might not be safe or bring safety hazards. Are there precautions that parents can take either when looking for a particular costume or those colored contacts, for example, to make sure that it's coming from a secure and really a safe place?
The first thing is get your costume from someplace reputable. I know a lot of times, particularly with the older kids or even the adults, they'll go to costume warehouses to purchase their costumes or rent them. So, you want to make sure that you're going to a reputable place, a place that or others have gone to, so that that the costume itself is safe. The other thing you have to be careful about are things like makeup, contacts, those sorts of things. Your eyes tolerate a lot, but you only have two of them. And so if you're not getting something like those colored contacts from a reputable eye care provider, you run the risk that you could damage your eyes. And so it's probably not prudent to do that. if you can't go to Walmart and spend $2 and get a reliable pair of contacts that won't damage your eyes. So it's very important. The other thing is contacts you just can't throw into your eyes. Your eyes need a lot of oxygen to get to them, or they can damage the cornea. And so that's the reason that it's prudent to get them from a reliable eye care expert, so that you know how long you could wear the contact at one time, those sorts of things. There's nothing different than people that go and wear contacts for vision. Certain contacts you have to change every day. Certain contacts you can wear longer than that. When you first start to wear contacts, you have to kind of build up some time. So to just pop a pair in your eyes is probably not a very good idea.
I can say myself, I had to learn that lesson the hard way. All right, so we're making sure the costumes are safe, watching out for the makeup, those colored contacts, or even any eye contact, really. Now let's talk about the activities we can expect for Halloween, trick-or-treating. In particular, some teens, this might be their first time trick-or-treating without their parents, with their friends. What are some safety tips that parents and teens and really kids can abide by?
Well, as I said earlier, stranger danger. You want to try to go places, one, I would say, where it doesn't have to be a lot of people there, but where other people are there. You need to be cognizant of what's going on around you. Stay with your friends. Make sure you have your cell phone with you. Make sure you have a well-functioning flashlight. You want to make sure that from a parent standpoint, they know where their teen is going to be and who they are going to be with. And it's also important that the teen, if something changes, that they check in with the parents. The same thing is true with the younger child. There's a lot of tweens, that 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old range that thinks, oh, I'm big enough, I can go out on my own. But that still is an age where they're very vulnerable. And so it's probably prudent if they go with an older sibling. That could be okay. But a lot of times with that age group, the teenagers don't want them around. They feel that they're a bother. So you want to try to maybe, as a parent, give them a little bit of leeway, but really keep good tabs on them. And then the younger kids, you've got to almost keep on a leash. Make sure that, they're not running around and running the risk of getting injured or getting into something that they shouldn't. But like I said, again, stranger danger, know where you're going and be cognizant of what's going on around you.
I think a big thing parents know to do is check their kids' candy. And we know that's being told time and time again, but particularly, this year we've heard news stories and other things on the internet surrounding fentanyl being found in candy and harmful things of that nature. Let's talk about that for a minute. What is even the proper way to check candy?
Well, I wish my mom was still here because she was really good at it when we were kids. But, the first premise is that you tell your child, don't eat anything until it comes home and we check it. And the older kids, check it together with them, First of all, there may be things that they don't like, throw them out. There's no point in even going down that path. But sometimes you have to be sort of leery of things that are made by someone, because those could be poisoned, if you will. The downside to the fentanyl is, it looks like candy. It's been sold in that sort of form to get to our teenagers. So anything that is opened and not well sealed should not be even entertained. Just throw it out. And when in doubt, throw it out. Because you want to be safe. You want your kids to be safe. In most families, the candy kind of gets shared between the kids and the parents. So you want to make sure everybody remains safe. The other thing is people can, instead of doing candy or food items, do fun things like little coloring books or stickers or certain pencils or erasers, or there's a lot of those types of things that are much safer nowadays than the candy.
And honestly, I think some parents might benefit from their child having a pencil or an eraser or two extra on hand. I remember trick-or-treating myself and my mom really being the candy police and making sure that I didn't eat my whole batch in one night. That's really the less fun part of parenting on Halloween, but an important one nevertheless. What is a way that parents can talk to their children or create a system to make sure that they're controlling the amount of sugar their kids are really eating?
Well, the bottom line is you have to make sure that you, the parent, have control over where the candy is. So one of the places that you can put it is in the back of the freezer, because most of that candy will keep for a fairly long time if you freeze it. And, things like frozen Milky Ways and those kinds of things actually taste pretty good. So it allows you to ration that candy out for your child. The other thing is you can almost use it as a reward system. If they do something special, you can give them a couple pieces of candy. But you want to space it out over an extended period of time. Make sure that they're eating well. And then as a treat, they can get a piece or two of candy, depending on the size of the candy and what it is. The other thing is make sure for the little kids, they're not getting like chewy things that could choke them, or, hard candy that could choke them, those kinds of things. And the biggest thing is remind them, don't eat any of it until it comes home. The candy police is there, like your mom.
The candy police is there. I have all my teeth, so I should probably be thanking her.
That's right.
Dr. DeMarco, I want to thank you so much. These are wonderful tips and a lot that parents might not be thinking about, but now have on their minds as they're headed into the weekend and the holidays. We're going to have more of these tips that we've put together on our website, along with this full interview, AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Make sure you check it out. Thank you so much, Dr. DeMarco.
Thank you so much. And don't forget to keep chocolate and raisins away from your furry friends.
That's right. We will talk more about that actually here tomorrow. Thank you.
Good.